Steeler Nation, welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. We're talking about Russell Wilson and TJ Watt. And I first want to start off with Russell Wilson. I said in a video the other day, I think it was with Arsenal DB from the Steelers Syndicate. We're talking about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who should come back. Now, Russell Wilson just had a post-game press conference or, a media availability. And some Steelers denied it too, like Minka and some other guys as well. But he was talking about coming back to the Steelers. I like the play. I like the time when they went and traded for him. They picked up his contract or whatever. They got him for a free agent from Denver. I liked it at the time, and I didn't mind the play of of Russell Wilson last year or this year in 2024. It's only a few days ago that we got bounced out of the playoffs by the Ravens. I liked it. I thought he did okay. Did he do great? No. Was there a lot of problems with the offensive line? Was there problems him seeing the ball, down the field? Did he develop routes and have good connections with receivers? Not overly the best, but he did have some good throws and did make some big plays and did move the ball down the field to score points. And that run where we went on a few game win streak, like 4 or 5 in a row, and we're versing, weaker teams. But I thought he played pretty well as a veteran, as a future Hall of Famer. I thought Russ did pretty well. So for the next few months, we're going to talk about next few weeks, months, or whatever. Should Omar Khan go and sign Wilson, or do they go and sign Fields, or what direction they go at quarterback? There's a lot of questions to be answered for Russell Wilson, and he was asked in his media availability that should he come back, should Russell Wilson come back to the Pittsburghs, or do you want to come back, right? And this was his response. He said that's the plan, Wilson. Monday, the team's locker room clean out. I love it here and everything else. I think we have a great football team. So Wilson wants to come back. If it were to happen, I'll be very honest. I'm okay with it. If it does happen and we have Wilson, then we got to build pieces around him. That is offensive line, the draft. That is getting guys as backups for the O-line. That is getting some really good receivers too in the free agent period. And then you got to think about signing Pickens or signing someone. If you don't sign Pickens, you trade him away. And you need receivers to link up and playmakers with Russell Wilson. And you need a good offensive line. At the same time, however, if they don't go and sign Russell Wilson, I'm okay with that as well. I would rather prefer, if they were to sign anyone at the moment, it would be Justin Fields, because he's a younger person, younger bloke, 25, and he can run around when the pocket collapses. He's running around and he can move the sticks, and that will be a fun, exciting time. So we'll have to wait and see. But Russell Wilson then talked more about this. He said, obviously, it didn't end the way we wanted to. I think there's a lot more to do, and he's correct in both topics. There, it didn't end the way we wanted to. No way. The five game skid, the collapse. I think players were getting tired, maybe mentally checked out. I think there's a lot of complications and arguments maybe in the locker room. It felt like this team was not cohesive together in the last 5 weeks. The first 13 was fun. 10-3, leading the division, chance to win the division. Mike Tomlin going for a coach of the year. Then everything fell apart. Something happened in the locker room where players just weren't together. They just weren't cohesive enough. And we all saw that from the outside. We don't know from an insider's perspective, but we definitely saw that from the outside, where this team just fell apart and collapsed. And it's not fun to watch. I thought overall the season was a good season. Until that collapse, until I went overseas and I saw the Ravens game, the Chiefs game, I was there. I thought it was good. And then it all just fell apart. So he's not wrong in that sense, right? Obviously didn't end well, but I think there's more to do. And there's a lot more to do. There's so much more to do for this team to get better at the offensive line position, running back. Our defense cannot allow. My key this season is boost up the D-line. I don't know if Ogunjobi will be back. We'll find out if they go and get defensive line free agent. Maybe Jay Wobble comes back from the 49ers, or he was cut from them. So maybe someone comes in to fill that role. They have to play big defense and like solid defense on the D line. You cannot allow 299 yards rushing. That is absolutely key for me. So they must do more. Then Wilson went to say this. I think they've known that I've always wanted to be here and play here. And obviously Wilson's only played 1 year so far, but it is also a process. Wilson said when asked the Steelers reciprocated his desire to return, We haven't had those meetings yet, so we will have those, and we'll go from there. And that's the point where we sit now in limbo as the wild card games start to finish up. And I'm recording this on just before the Rams game, so I don't know the result, but it's coming out the next day. This is sometimes I have to record in the future, and I'm from the future, so that's how it works out. But this team does have a lot of questions, and I understand the frustration for the Fire Tomlin people. I get it. I understand the frustration, but it looks like now that the Rooney's and the Steelers organization, they went 10-7. They got bounced out of the playoffs. They haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. We know all that stuff, and we have to look forward now to 2025 and the draft and rebuilding and getting this team back to solid physical Steelers football. And that is winning, hopefully, by 10 points, 14 points, or taking care of business and winning games at home and winning the division. But it's a process. It's building blocks. It's team building. It's all that kind of stuff. And it does, you kind of sit back and go, what's the direction of the team right now? We don't overly know. Another thing I want to bring up too was TJ Watt. TJ Watt was in the news yesterday as well, talking about the possibility of coming back to the Steelers, and TJ Watt is on a 1-year contract. Now, my thought process is, I've got two thoughts here. If you were to trade away TJ, then a lot of people would leave. I think Cameron Hayward would leave. I think other guys would start to think about, hey, if you're trading away TJ, then we're giving up and we're just going to tank for the next 3 or 4 years and get picks and rebuild like that. They certainly could do it, but I don't think the Steelers would do it. They didn't trade away Cam. They didn't trade guys like that. TJ is one of your best players, even though he had a bit of a slow end to the season. TJ wants to be here. He wants to be part. He said in his media interview, he wants to be a part of the solution. He wants to be here. He wants to fix it. Now, TJ Watt has never won a playoff game. He's 0-4 in playoff games or whatever he is, or 0-5, or he's never won one. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. Steelers are on a slide. We can play competitively. We can get to the dance, and Mike Tomlin can get these players to the dance, but the next minute, they just don't show up. And then that's the real problem over the last, I think, 8 to 10 years is we can be competitive and we can do all these things. The minute we get there, the team just falls asleep and they run over us, right? And that's also with respect to the other teams who beat us in the playoffs and they're the better side. It just happens that way. But TJ wants to be here. So if you were to trade TJ, I think you'd have to say, if you're trading TJ, then you're possibly getting rid of Pickens. You're possibly getting rid of a few people, maybe Minka. You're selling a lot of pieces to then rebuild and redraft and get younger players into the locker room. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go to the draft. I think they're going to bring back TJ to a contract, a big contract, or a 4 or 5 year contract, whatever it may be. They possibly could go the Fields direction. The Russell Wilson direction wouldn't shock me, but we have to wait and see. So Wilson wants to be here. TJ wants to be here. I know a lot of people are frustrated. The team is frustrated. I think I saw Frymove's media availability too. He's very frustrated. This whole team just had one big collapse right near the end. And I dead set see it. And now we've got to wait and see and put the pieces back together and hopefully have a better chance on offense and like getting Troy Fautanu back, and Roman Wilson will be exciting to watch when he comes back to health and being our second receiver or third receiver. If they do go and sign Pickens, you got Pickens, Austin Wilson. Maybe you've got another key free agent comes in. Do they get T. Higgins? I don't know. It's going to be a fun process to talk about throughout the duration of the offseason. But at the same time, Steel Nation, I get it. I understand the overall frustration that people are just really angry right now. Really, really angry. They're angry on a lot of parts because the team seemed like they gave up. The Mike Tomlin thing is right. It's going through the media. Media talking about firing Tomlin. They're talking about the trading Tomlin, which I don't think you can do. But everyone's talking about that. And the only way you really solve this is if you have a plan. And Omar Khan has a plan. Mike Tomlin has a plan. They change their philosophy. They change something in the organization. And they get together and they fix it. And the only way you fix this is by next season is by winning games. We're a long ways away from that. But that's the news today, or that's the news yesterday. Russell Wilson wants to be here. TJ wants to be here. I don't mind if Wilson stays and plays, but they need protection. And this point of his career, he needs protection. He needs like a better offensive line to give him 3 seconds or whatever it may be. He needs time in the pocket to scan, go, scan, go. Like he needs time in the pocket. Otherwise, you invest. You maybe say Wilson, thank you, mate, for the 1 year, and you bring it back Fields, and you go that direction. But like last year, to be honest, I thought Kenny Pickett was going to be a Steeler, and they they brought in Wilson, traded Kenny Pickett, then got Justin Fields. So I have never been so unsure in my life around the Pittsburgh Steelers what direction they are going. I'm not even sure the Steelers know what direction they are going. There's running back decisions, there's quarterback decisions, there's cornerback decisions, there's all kinds of things. There's defense, there's coordinators, there's so many different question marks that are happening right now. So I don't know. But thank you, Steel Nation. As always, I'll try and be here on the news on top of it as best I can. But thank you, Steel Nation. And as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we